On July 21st, 2021, Amanda was alone in her home when her phone buzzed with a Ring doorbell notification. A middle-aged man wearing a tank top and a hat. He started repeating to himself,
Just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you. Are you sure? What? Are you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you.
That was all he said at first. His voice was soft, polite almost. The way he looked at the door gave Amanda an immediate sense that something was very wrong. Across town, her husband had also received the Ring notification. He looked at the feed remotely and used the Ring doorbell to confront the man.
So who are you?
What? Yeah? Are you sure?
Who are you?
Hey, I just had a couple questions. I just wanted to ask you about TV show. Yeah, can you hear me? What I'm looking for is for the girl that's in the house to come out here because I'm going to her and kill her. Can you have her open the door? I'm going to and kill the girl that's on the other side of this door when she lets me in. I want to her and kill her because I have a knife and a gun. Yeah, and I'm going to knock on her door again.
The way he said this was so plain, so flat, that it took a few seconds for Amanda and her husband to process what they had just heard. Eventually, he just turned and walked off, disappearing into the street. The next day, a witness downtown spotted a man matching the video's description. A Las Vegas deputy city marshal was flagged down and confronted him. When questioned, he refused to give his name. Instead, he repeatedly told the officers that he was the Holy Spirit. But the police weren't interested in his games, so they took him down to the station and ran his prints. He was identified as Christopher Soms, age 40. He had a prior criminal record and an active felony warrant out of Los Angeles. Once identified, he was booked into the Clark County Detention Center. Even though he never physically attempted to break in and no weapons were found on him at the time of arrest, prosecutors emphasized that his threats delivered were enough to constitute a serious premeditated criminal act. The neighbors in Las Vegas didn't recognize him. He didn't appear to live in Amanda's neighborhood, and as far as investigators can tell, there was no connection between him and Amanda or her husband. They were complete strangers. On August 24, 2018, a man in Texas received an alert that something was at his doorbell camera. The cameras revealed a lone woman standing barefoot on his porch. She wore only a loose t-shirt, her wrist bound together tightly by metal handcuffs. Without knocking, she pressed the doorbell twice. Then, without warning, she turned away and slipped into the darkness. The homeowner, startled and unsure how to respond, immediately called 911. Police arrived within minutes, but the woman was nowhere to be found. What they did find, however, were the discarded handcuffs lying near a pickup truck parked down the street. From there, the investigation took a grim turn. Law enforcement identified the woman as a victim of severe domestic abuse. Her boyfriend, a 49-year-old Dennis Ray Collins. Collins had a documented history of violence, with previous arrests and multiple restraining orders filed against him by the victim. When officers moved in to arrest Collins after the woman's escape, he took his own life before they could make contact. Forensic teams combed through the residence and uncovered clear evidence of prolonged abuse and captivity. On March 11, 2025, a homeowner in Pennsylvania got a motion alert from their doorbell camera. Curious, they checked the feed, and what they saw didn't make sense. It wasn't their neighbor, and it wasn't a delivery driver. This person was wearing a homemade mask, crafted from a paper plate with cutout eyes and a wide cartoonish smile drawn in marker. Surrounding the plate was petal-like extensions, glued or taped to form a face that looked more like a children's art project than a disguise. Then, the man spoke.
I am the box demon. I am the box demon. I believe this box is a gift for you.
He placed a large cardboard box on the porch, stepped back, and disappeared into the night. The box? Empty. The footage was shared online shortly after. It didn't take long for it to go viral. What made the moment so disturbing wasn't just the delivery, it was the mask itself. Viewers across Reddit and TikTok immediately recognized the face as a direct reference to a horror game on Roblox called Dandy's World. The Northern York County Regional Police Department confirmed the incident was real and still under investigation. According to officers, the box left on the porch was examined and found to be harmless, but they still treated the situation as a suspicious encounter and encouraged neighbors to review their own footage and report anything strange. The homeowner, who hasn't spoken publicly beyond sharing the video, told local outlets they didn't recognize the voice, didn't know anyone involved in Danny's world, and had never received threats before. This wasn't a prank among friends, it was completely random, yet still deeply personal. Just minutes after midnight on January 1st, 2020, a violent and terrifying scene unfolded in a residential neighborhood in Las Vegas, Nevada. A Ring doorbell camera recorded a woman running toward the front door. She banged on the door multiple times and screamed for help. Despite her screams, the man forced her into a white car that had been parked nearby. The vehicle then drove off, leaving the scene in under a minute. The homeowner who received the ring alert saw the incident happening in real time on their phone and immediately called 911, reporting what appeared to be a violent abduction. Police quickly realized the seriousness of what had occurred. The video not only captured a violent struggle, but the full abduction. The victim could be heard yelling a name as she was being pulled away. This single word provided detectives with a crucial lead. Investigators identified the suspect as a 23-year-old Darnell Rogers. He had a history of domestic violence allegations and was known to law enforcement. The woman in the video was confirmed to be his girlfriend, and the two shared a 1-month-old infant together. Just one day after the footage was released, Las Vegas police located and arrested Darnell Rogers. He was taken into custody without incident and booked into the Clark County Detention Center. He was then denied bail. He remained in custody awaiting trial. The woman, she received ongoing protective services, and the child was placed into temporary custody with relatives. Most further details were sealed by the court due to the involvement of a minor and the domestic nature of the case. No official statements were made by the victim, and law enforcement encouraged the public to respect her privacy. On the evening of January 18th, 2025, a homeowner's routine evening took a startling turn. While running errands away from home, the resident received a notification from their security camera. The footage showed a lone figure standing at the front door of the house. The person was wearing a bright red devil mask, often described as resembling a goat or a satanic figure with sharp, exaggerated features and glowing eyes. The figure held a cardboard sign with handwritten words quoting a passage from the Bible's Book of Revelation. This passage discusses apocalyptic imagery, including the binding and the ultimate release of Satan, and the final judgment of humanity. The message on the sign, combined with the devil mask, gave the impression that the visitor was trying to convey a sinister or prophetic warning. The man lingered briefly at the doorstep, appearing to pretend to knock or ring the doorbell, but then abruptly turned and walked around to the back driveway, disappearing from the camera's view. The entire event lasted only moments, but left a lasting impression on the homeowner.
It's about the end times. It's about Judgment Day. I freaked out. I mean, I was like, I couldn't even think of anything. A lot of people were saying that they would probably shoot the person. I wish it were fake because, like, you know, it's really affected me.
The man in the creepy mask was never found. It is unknown if he was just playing a prank or if he was actually trying to warn us of something serious. In April 2023, Ben and Emma settled into their new flat in Wandsworth, London. Like many modern homeowners, they installed several security devices to monitor their property and provide peace of mind. Little did they know that these cameras would soon become the only witness to a disturbing and relentless nightmare, one inflicted by their own downstairs neighbor, 52-year-old Drina Gray. Gray moved into the flat beneath Ben and Emma shortly before the ordeal began. Thanks to the Ring doorbell cameras mounted around their home, much of Gray's conduct was recorded, creating an undeniable record of her disturbing behavior. The footage shows Gray lurking outside their home on numerous occasions.
About that, Ben. Carry on, sunshine. You well, mad. Talk to me face to face. You I asked you right. Can you please put this down the end of the road up by here? It can't be bothered to load it off. If you can't be to you load it off, trying to get rid of my dog, is it? Put me in mental distress. It's sober.
Repeated exposure to such hostility left Ben and Emma living in fear within their own home. But the harassment was far from limited to verbal abuse. Gray's actions quickly turned physical. She deliberately destroyed 2 of their doorbell cameras. Adding to this, Gray repeatedly left dog feces on their doorstep. She was also recorded playing loud music and other disruptive noises late into the night and early morning hours. The relentless harassment contributed to a deepening depression and anxiety. In interviews, Ben revealed he had actually reached the deepest points of despair.
I can't fall asleep because you're waiting for the next episode. It's certainly had a really detrimental impact on my mental health.
Despite repeated reports to the police and local authorities, Gray's behavior continued. Authorities initially responded with a community protection notice. However, Gray violated this notice the very day it was issued, demonstrating blatant disregard for the law. This defiance forced the matter into the courts. In June of 2025, following a series of adjournments, Gray pled guilty to multiple offenses. Gray was sentenced to 40 months in prison, and an injunction was also imposed, barring Gray from returning to the property. Eviction proceedings are underway to remove her permanently and allow Ben and Emma to reclaim their home and sense of security. On January 2019, in the early morning hours, a family in California was out of town, but at approximately 5 a.m., their camera captured a man approaching their front door. A complete stranger, just walking up casually, as if it were his own home. He presses his face close to the doorbell, his mouth opens, and then slowly, he starts licking it. He doesn't do it once and leave. He stays there for 3 whole hours. He sometimes looks directly into the camera, but when he does, it's almost like he's not fully there. The next morning, when the homeowners reviewed the footage, they were stunned. Their children had thankfully not been home that night, and neither had they. But knowing that someone had spent 3 entire hours within inches of their front door made them feel that thin line between safety and threat had completely vanished. They contacted the police department, who issued a press release and quickly identified the suspect as a Roberto Daniel Arroyo. Arroyo had a long history of mental health issues, prior arrest, and unstable behavior. He had reportedly been living in the area without a permanent residence, often wandering through neighborhoods late at night. Despite how disturbing the footage was, he had not technically broken any major laws. Instead, he was charged with misdemeanor prowling, theft, and a violation of probation. Police said he'd also visited other houses that same night, though none of the other interactions were as strange. On the night of June 14th, 2024, in Colorado, 2 separate doorbell security cameras recorded footage of a man no one had seen before. He wore a white full-face ski mask that concealed his identity completely, leaving only his eyes visible. The first clip showed the man approach a home near South Peoria Street and Parker Road. He stood silently facing the front door. Then he knocked. The man didn't say anything, just the sound of knuckles against wood in the dead of night. Minutes later, a second camera at a nearby home caught the same man. This time, he was more forceful. In one hand, he carried a handgun. Using the butt of this weapon, he pounded on the door again and again. He never spoke, never moved beyond the threshold. Nearby, a dark-colored SUV was parked along the street. Police believe this vehicle was connected to him, possibly as means of arriving and escaping the scene. Detectives studying the footage noted additional details. The suspect appeared to wear a lanyard or a chain around his neck. This small detail gave investigators another piece of the puzzle. The Aurora Police Department took the matter seriously from the start. After reviewing the footage, they quickly confirmed that both incidents involved the same suspect. Describing the masked man as armed and dangerous, police urged residents to stay vigilant, lock their doors, and avoid engaging with strangers at night. They appealed to the community to report any suspicious sightings or information.